Have you ever had those moments where you felt like you were flying because your crush made eye contact with you, or you did better than you expected on a quiz? Then you had those moments where you felt like you were falling. You know, your boyfriend cheated on you, or you saw your mom get into an argument with your father. For me, I felt like I was falling when my counselor and my mom had a meeting where she was told that I should seek help for my depression and anxiety. At first, I felt really ashamed and embarrassed, mainly because of the stigma around being Asian American and having a mental illness. Like, Asian American usually look down. Like, when you hear the word mental illness, it's like you're crazy and not normal. So I didn't want help. I didn't want anyone to judge me, especially my Asian American peers, because they were doing really well and they had things that they wanted to accomplish. And imagine having the word mental illness on your school record. For me, I thought that if I had a mental illness and it would be going on my record, I wouldn't be able to go to a good college. And in the Asian American community, going to a good college is like the thing. It's basically how you were taught to grow up in. Because of that, I grew very, very depressed and very, very tired of everything. I would come to school and not do anything, and there were days where I would just skip classes because it became such a struggle to try to focus on things that I didn't want to care about anymore. And you must be wondering, how did you go to this one girl who was doing really well and really was active in school to this girl who went from an honor roll student to a straight F student? So the reason why I have depression and anxiety was because back in freshman year, I was struggling with my body image, and I was hanging out with the wrong person, which led me to feeling really bad about myself. And even though how I felt about my body image had improved, my mental health had gotten worse because of the pressure and expectation I was receiving from my family. How I was supposed to become a doctor or a lawyer, and I had to receive straight A's in order to be acknowledged by my family that I was their granddaughter, the perfect daughter, or just the perfect cousin that one might have. And like a piece of paper, everyone first started off as smooth, blank, and clean. As you grow older, you feel all crumbled up to the point where you feel like you're being ripped to pieces. That's how I felt. I felt like I was falling into pieces, and I felt like I was being ripped apart because of my mental illness. I was ashamed, and no one understood me, not even my mom. She would constantly compare me to my cousins, saying that they had better grades and that they were normal. Why can't I do the same? I was jealous of my friend because they were achieving so much and I was achieving nothing. They got an officer position in a club, or they just got invited to this party that some cute guy was throwing. For me, I was nothing. I felt like I was a burden to everyone, especially to my mom who sacrificed so much, yet to have people telling her that her daughter wasn't normal. So I started to attend counseling session, which my mom started to understand how I felt, but for me, the counseling session didn't help, and I stopped attending because I thought, well, now that my mom knows and she understands, I don't have to attend it anymore. But I only grew worse, and it got so worse to the point that the school would constantly call home saying that your daughter must be skipping school or something because she's not showing up to class, or I would be called up to like the district office where they would have a meeting with all these people who would also skip class and say that I might not be able to graduate and I would have to do community service because of my attendance. I knew that I had to do something before I did something unreversible. I attended a 4-day, 3-night program at UC Berkeley called Vision that was under the Cal VSA. Through this program, I have learned to pick myself up and learn to love myself. Before coming to this program, I hated talking to people. Like, I hated telling them my problems and my struggles, mainly because I was afraid that they'll judge me. That for having a mental illness and for not being the typical Asian that is normal and is doing all these good things. But I learned that through the bonds and the activities and the connection that were made, everyone was really similar. We all had stories that we want to tell, but even though they were really different stories, it all connects itself to the program, which is mental health. On the third day of the program, we did this activity called Sharing Circle, which is where everyone got a chance to share their story. Now, like I said, I was really hesitant about sharing because I didn't want anyone to judge me for being weird for having a mental illness. But I thought that, coming to this program, I came for a reason. And I took the opportunity and told people my mental illness, which is why I came, because I felt really out of place and no one was understanding me. After telling my story, I was able to get the help and support I need, and I felt so much better about myself. 2/3 of people in the entire world don't seek professional help because of discrimination and the neglect they get, which is why it leads to suicide. For me, because I was able to share my story, I didn't do anything beyond repair. I didn't kill myself, or I didn't try to kill myself. I have a classmate who went through depression, and even though I didn't know him that well, I had friends who hang out with him. And he had depression. He was struggling a lot, and even his parents know, but no one wanted to reach out. So many people could have reached out, but they didn't because they just didn't. And it led to depression. And if you heard about the news on San Jose or Bay Area news, he committed suicide by jumping on a train. As the next generation, I believe that if people were more open about their mental health and they were able to speak more about it, we can change the way it's being viewed and see the bigger picture of mental health. I started to believe and understand that maybe having a mental illness is the reason why I'm still here. I know that I went through a lot, and I'm not a perfect piece of paper that is completely blank, smooth, and clean. I have my edge, my tear, and my wear, and those are the stories, lesson, and mistake I went through. Welcome to the life of this paper airplane. It can fly for a short amount of time, but what happens when it falls? You pick it up and you throw it back into the air. That's what I did with myself. When I fell, I pushed myself to get the help and support I wanted and need. And this is why I'm still standing here, and I became the person I thought I could ever be, more than I could ever be. I mean, I could have tried to do something stupid or beyond repair, and I would not be here today. We can see the bigger picture of mental health if we spoke more about it, if people didn't have to judge us so much about it, which is why I believe that you should speak more and be more open about it, because it leads to a better physical and mental health being. Thank you.